Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Wednesday, June 19th at 12:43 p.m. A little late today. I'll see how much time I have. I think I have a 2 p.m. hard stop, but market sentiment surely has shifted in a matter of 2 days. Pretty, pretty bleak about 3 days ago. Pretty bleak over the weekend, and things did get liquidated, and we saw fresh bottoms on some very meaningful protocols in the crypto space. And headlines and macroeconomics, it's pretty bleak. Uh, Japan is in a tough situation. Norin Chuckin's in a tough situation, but there's only one path forward with regard to social stability and stability, and they finance it, and it is what it is. We could complain about it all day long, saying the end of the dollar is near. The BRICS currencies are going to be the reserve currency. What the fuck does that even mean? You know how long it takes for shit like that to change? You know how long these processes take to play out? If I lend someone $100 million and they want to pay me back in gold or they want to pay me back in yuan, I owe someone money, probably. I owe someone money, probably in dollars. No, no, motherfucker, pay me back the 100 mil you owe me. I don't want some other currency. Folks, that is a very, very simple explanation for what such a scenario would be. People lend money and they require being paid back in that same denomination. Otherwise, nothing works about the equation. So, the biggest failure in most narratives that people offer is time. They don't get time correct in their equation. They're running around frantic trying to be right, not understanding the time part of the consideration. No patience. The young people these days, and I say that as I was just a young person not too long ago. I'm only 41. But nowadays, I've learned to have a tremendous amount of patience because time does the work, and time sure as hell will do the work for me. So, big business, the dollar is the biggest business on the planet by far. It's over an $11 trillion business from a revenue standpoint. The next up is Walmart, 600, 700, something like that, $1 billion. So the biggest business, the second biggest business is 8%, 7, 8%, something like that. The size of how big the dollar is as a business with regard to, from a revenue perspective at least. It's the biggest business you could possibly think of. I could possibly think of. It's the biggest business quantitatively. So fortunately, in these crypto markets, the concept has emerged of fintech and finance and currency and collateral and liabilities. And it's a financial system, a market of markets. And you could print liabilities, which are dollars and equal to this structurally. Conceptually, structurally is probably best, equivalent to the same dollar that the banking infrastructure uses. It's a collateralized debt position. It's by definition what a euro dollar is in many regards. And therefore, the several businesses in this crypto space are of the scale and scope, or at least targeting total addressable market, that of an $11.5 trillion market. It's the biggest fucking business on the planet. You got all of these general public folks and these 401k folks going to the stock market. Like, oh, NVIDIA. Listen, I love AI. It's changed everything. NVIDIA, great. Making GPUs. Big business, big business. I love Walmart. I shop at Walmart. I love Microsoft. I use their business products. I love Apple. I use their products too. Great businesses. Small businesses, tiny businesses, because and folks invest in them. They're investing in these tiny businesses. Tesla, I drive Teslas, tiny, microscopic business, and that's okay because they're big in meat space terms and in actual business terms, but well, like products and services terms, general public terms, they are microscopic compared to the biggest business on the planet, dollars, and the printing thereof. So, how do you invest in dollars in traditional finance? You can't do shit. You can't own cash flow from a bank. You can't own cash flow because they get that cash flow. They want that cash flow. And there's too much infrastructure in traditional finance. I've said 1,001 times beating a dead horse. There's people, and people take the profits. But when you have a software operation, such as what we have seen emerge in these crypto markets, there's no people, no human resources, no DevOps, no server infrastructure, no OpEx, no bonuses and salaries and executives and yada, yada, yada. Oh, so curve is rightfully off bottom, back to 33 cents. Convex pushing some interesting structure from a 100 MA on the weekly perspective. Nice to see. This is a 2-year bottoming process, folks. Did folks really think this would be an invalidation of the biggest business on the planet with regard to its expression in these crypto markets? Dollars and incentives. Incentives are the most, well, there's also a fundamental business, bear in mind. How big is the incentives business? It's also trillions of dollars a year. The incentives business, so when the government hands out tax deductions and tax breaks, it's trillions of dollars. And because they're not, by them not receiving revenue, they are in essence giving it. So that's a sort of business. That's their business. You take taxes and you tell people, oh, you don't have to pay taxes if you do this, this, and this. So bigger than Walmart, probably smaller than the dollar with regard to interest rate and the 11.5 trillion I mentioned. So it's the second biggest business, incentives. So what are these? These businesses are literally incentives in dollars. It's the biggest freaking investment there is on the planet. There's nothing on the stock market even close. And we've been telling this story for years, and at some point, more people will recognize that this thing will get off bottom, cycles will cycle. Then, we've been telling the story the whole time, and that's okay. I get excited about it, and I try and restrain myself. And the point, or my goal, is to tell this story in a relatively calm, cool, and collected fashion. We will have the outsized returns because most people don't understand it. We do. And that's what it means to be early, to understanding something that most people don't understand and, good in good regard, can't understand, and that's okay. It's not for the entire population to understand how the matrix is built, how the system that they engage with on a daily basis is actually constructed. You have to have a different perspective on the world. Think like the way persons that work at the WEF think. It's a relatively small employee base. It's a few people of the whole global population think in terms of how to structure the world, how to maintain social order. All right. So that's what we talk about. You maintain social order with effective economics and very opportunistic incentives that encourage people to be productive, to be civil. Oh shit, we literally just defined what the salary is. Salary is an incentive to come to work and be productive and do things that a person doesn't necessarily want to do. but they're doing it because they're incentivized to do it. A person is incentivized not to wake up in the morning and go hunting in the forest or hunting in their neighbor's house. That's a scary thought. They're incentivized not to do that because they want to not go to jail and they want to go to work and earn a salary. They're incentivized to do it's all incentives. Everything in the damn world is incentives. It's like, isn't it obvious? I mean, I tell this story because it's obvious to me, but it's the case that the few people that listen to me, 106 human beings at this point today, most people will never understand this, but you guys do. All 106 of you and the folks that listen to me over the years, they hear the story. It's how the matrix is built. The better you understand how the system works, the more opportunity that's available. Uh, I like watching this chart. I don't really watch short time frame charts and weekly because the 100 SMAs in play. Let's see if it breaks. This is a 2-year bottoming process in the making. There's literally 4 days, 8 hours left in the candle. We don't know squat until this thing closes. You break above it, you chop around for a couple weeks, and then you retest, and then you print the higher high. Trifecta of bullish confluence. You zoom out to the monthly. We're in good position to do something like that in 11 days. The monthly closes, that'd be a breakout of the time weighted average price, a bullish cross of the 10 SMA and the time weighted average price. All of that looks very nice. He ain't got shit on the 3 month. It's too new of an asset. Too new of an asset. Folks are like, it's convex. Yeah, it's only been out for a couple of years. So this short time preference that folks have inspecting these markets, you need to drop that. You need to zoom TF out. This is all brand new stuff. This is all test and prod. This is all nascent. This is all, yeah, it's just getting started. This is all so early, it hasn't even started. I mean, look at this chart. This is the chart. It's straight down. That's the shittiest perspective to have, but this is how new it is. It's literally April of 22 from a Binance perspective, obviously. This is brand new. Check back in a decade. Took Tesla like a decade to even be thought of by the general public. And I remember my first Tesla. It was like 27. Well, I first purchased because I bought a used one from like 2015 or 2016. Then I got one in 2017. It was a Model X, and this was before the Model 3 came out. And this was when he was on, you know, news saying production hell, and he was sleeping in the factories. They were on life support, and there was so few Teslas back then. It was so weird. We would go to superchargers, me and the fam. Nobody used them. There was nothing on the road. It was literally just S and X. Those were the two types of models that were on the road at the time. And there's so few that are sold still to this day. They're a relatively premium vehicle. But that's just it's weird because that real world story of that relatively big company is still a microscopic company. And also relevant to the story is not just the size of the company. We introduced this stream today talking about size of these things, but also the time it took for that company to do what it is. Not just him. Everyone says him. It's a company of people, organization. Took a decade. So what do you think is a reasonable time frame for these types of businesses? Back in a decade. All this crazy shit. So is this not a bottoming process? There's cycles, not cycles. These guys cycle the shit out of the market. And when this thing gets ripping, it'll be interesting as well. Does it cycle between what, $6 and just continues to cycle here for all eternity? I don't think so. I don't think so. So this is an interesting perspective though in the monthly. And is this at a discount? or, or some sort of gesture that I can't explain why it's relevant because it's like, whoa, certainly at a discount. I don't know. Jinte, I am incentivized to watch this. Yeah, because this is probably the best perspective folks will get on Bitcoin, which is an extraordinary, useful collateral asset with degrees of moneyness. And it's literally everything I talk about is relevant to the entire crypto space. I appreciate Bitcoin as a money. I appreciate Ethereum as a network of networks because it built the other EVM chains and encouraged the other Alt L1s. And that's a market of markets that has emerged that has produced these currency systems. And I'm not poisoned by the conversation of um, Bitcoin fixes everything. One of the most important observations for folks is that if anyone ever says Bitcoin is deflationary, they literally have no idea what they're talking about. It's literally a disinflationary product, period, which means it's inflationary, which means the inflation is decreasing on a 4-year cyclical basis, which is great. It's a wonderful design. It was the first design of such a monetary policy. Do we want things to end? What is this, the fucking biblical times? That the Bible came out and it's the end all be all of the story and it never changes. And oh, we have to respect the old ways and never change and never move forward and never progress. What the fuck? No, you move forward, you make new shit. You break a couple things along the way. That's iteration. And the old stuff is still relevant. I go with my daughter to church. I'm a good Jew. I go with my daughter to church, but I'm certainly progressive. And I do shit my way. I do shit a new way. I see the world from a very different perspective, and I'm very open to almost any idea, as long as it's rational. I don't fuck around, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure apparently the captain of rationality for a reason. So Bitcoin's great. Look, I just spent a couple of weeks telling you guys about, oh my God, where is it? About what I've done with CRVUSD and what I'm doing with Aave currently. Look, hey, I paid off my debt. Oh, so I paid off my debt. I have my collateral. I have my investments. I borrow to invest as a fiduciary. I cannot invest if I don't have a good investment. Still have the cash flow. So what do I do with the cash flow? Oh shit, I got bills to pay, cars to pay, mortgage, what have you, school for the kids. And as a responsible adult, my bills are less than my income. I don't spend more than I make. So excess capital goes to collateral. Oh, there's use Bitcoin as savings. There you go. The Bitcoin maximalist in me is coming out. So use your Bitcoin as savings. Look at my skew of collateral. 2 to 1. Bitcoin versus Ethereum in a market where Ethereum is begging to start outperforming. So there's my collateral composition. Bitcoin as money, the savings. And so excess income, there you go. Build your collateral. You can borrow against it. Cash flow pays debt. Cash, dollars are a transitory thing in this market climate. We won't talk about the future market climate that will come in 2026, end of 2025 right now, but we will highlight that this is the current operating procedures for the business that I operate with strict, prudent judgment as a fiduciary. Income, collateral, debt, pay bills, invest, income, pay off debt, build collateral, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, grow collateral, grow investments. That's it. That's the cycle. And that's what everyone has done since the beginning of time with money, collateral, and investments, and living within your means. So that's one of the hardest things that even the wealthy people fuck up, is not living within their means. Spend less than you make. And man, listen, I just went through a bear market with you guys. What do you think happens in a bear market? Cash flow goes down, and it did. It went down a lot. What does that mean? I got less money to spend. So I spent less money. I mean, I get that itch. Like, I understand it's really hard at the bottom, but for the love of God, you got to live within your means. And if you do this equation and execute reasonably, you can grow your way out of a shitty situation. I've been in plenty of shitty situations. Shitty situations. So, it's been tough times to get to this type of configuration. And look at this configuration I'm showing you right now. And there's been frantic times and anxiety filled times. And one time I had two contracts and I was fired from both of them simultaneously. Out of in double employed on a Wednesday, out of work on a Friday. And shit, I had a mortgage to pay back then. That was very frustrating. But now, a decade later, I have a very calm, cool, collected presentation of demeanor. Being frantic doesn't fix anything. So it's not healthy. It's not healthy to be frantic. It's healthy in a shitty, complicated situation. War, aliens, natural disaster. Do you think it's beneficial to be frantic? It's beneficial to be calm. Is it any different with capital management? No. It's exactly the same with capital management. Calm, logical, and most importantly, rational. Sir, how do you deal with debt repayment when the collateral doesn't yield good investments? Well, the collateral itself is not an investment. I don't leverage collateral. What does all this mean? I'm going through this conversation with an associate recently as well. Um, the collateral is not an investment. Bitcoin and Ethereum are not investments. Now, obviously, I don't define them as investments. I define them as cash, as collateral cash. There's also dollars cash, or cash dollars, cash collateral, whatever the hell. But there's three components in my portfolio, and for a while I was saying two, it's cash and investments, but now let's be a little bit more specific. Folks like Arrow when he's on would appreciate that. You have your collateral cash, you have your dollars cash, and you have your investments. Very simple. Investments produce cash flow. Dollars cash are stable coins, and collateral cash are Ethereum and Bitcoin primarily. It's strong stuff, your blue chips, as folks would call them. It's the good stuff. It's the I'm not messing around stuff. I don't have time for some bullshit collateral. I'm not taking risks. That's the stuff that I depend on for myself and my family. That's a good fiduciary. Um, Cash, collateral cash, dollars cash. What's the good? What do you use cash for? Oh, you use cash at the supermarket. Use cash to pay a bill, pay a credit card or whatever. Cash is cash. Fortunately, Bitcoin and Ethereum are good cash. Now, optimally, you don't want to spend your Bitcoin or Ethereum. As a good Bitcoin maximalist that I am, you don't want to spend it. I want to spend my damn Bitcoin. So you borrow dollars cash against your Bitcoin cash. But so it's a bit of a chicken and the egg because you need your cash flow from investments to pay off your debts. And your debts need to be less than your income, such that your cash flow pay off your debt in a reasonable amount of time. What do I define as a reasonable amount of time? 2 to 4 weeks. Operate on a monthly basis. Clean your books from an accounting perspective. Your CPA will appreciate it. And I have that's what I do. My my debts are less than my cash flow or within the 2 to 4 week servicing range, which means that's the amount of capital I have to spend on consumables, food, supermarket, what have you, and investments. Invest to get more cash flow. Cash flow, you can build collateral, which gives you more spending power. Rinse and repeat. I hope these definitions help. These definitions, frankly, are years in the making for myself. And to state them as clearly and as calmly as I do, it comes from years of doing this stuff. And with those three components of a portfolio and strictly adhering to the responsibility that your debts never exceed your cash flow by a factor of 2 to 4 weeks, you will grow collateral, cash, dollars, cash, and investments cyclically. What kind of time horizon should you measure your how well you've done? 4 years. 4, 8, 12, 16, because that is really an artificial cyclical reality of the economic construct that has been created. Raoul talks about it as basically the debt refinancing cycle, which is a component of or a forward-looking indicator of the capital expansion cycle. Anyway, I digress. I digress. Uh, cap, 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 tap, yeah, cap, tapping. Yeah, my man. Tap. Oh my goodness. Where are we? Where are we? Let's take a peek. Oh, 12 cents. I mean, it's got like Pendle vibes written on it. I'm just, I get excited. I'm realistic. I have a decent exposure. I was sized rationally. It was sized rationally back in 2022 as a seed investor when they had nothing. Why did I invest? Biggest business on the planet, dollars. Dollars, ladies and gentlemen. Dollars are the biggest business on the planet. What are the biggest dollar businesses in these crypto markets? MakerDAO, Aave is a credit market, CRVUSD most recently, now Tapioca, Frax. How do you differentiate? How do you size positions? How do you judge exposure? Most importantly, X, Y, and Z, because I just spent 20 minutes talking about cash flow and how it's an absolute critical requirement. So, cash flow, you can't do shit without cash flow. Can't take out debt on your collateral without cash flow, right? So, size accordingly. I define anything that doesn't have immediate X, Y, and Z as the spec revenue category. You want to have future exposure. There's no revenue for Tapioca. It hasn't even launched yet. So it was sized accordingly. It's probably like 0.1%, half a percent, 1% of the portfolio back in 2022. That's it. 1% to 10% changes everything. That's an old narrative that we've talked about for quite a many years at this point. 1% to 10% changes everything. Spec revenue turning into actual revenue. Woo! Over a 4, 8, 12-year period, that's how you, a 20-year-old when they're 32 has a fair amount of revenue. Guys got so much of an advantage when you're young. It's so much harder when you're old. So much easier when you're young. Damn it. Damn it. Lucky little people. If you realize how lucky you are. Killis, good morning. How are you? Always a pleasure. Diego, hi Noah. What's your favorite non-custodial wallet? Yeah, it's only hardware. Hardware. Everyone was all pissy about Ledger. They got the best damn product out there. Ledger's cool. I played with Grid for a little bit. Damn, ledgers are pretty cool. And maybe I wish they were 24 word seeds, but whatever. 12 mathematically. Y'all know the math. Should know the math. Big number theory. It's really interesting. Yeah, big number theory. Is it called big number theory? It's big ass numbers, giant ass numbers, like 10 to the 160. That's a crazy number. Like that. You realize 10 to 160 doesn't exist in physical nature? So the fun fact, digression, the nerd in me. Uh, 10 to the 80 is the number of atoms in the visible universe. Atoms. The math of crypto is 10 to the 160, and I don't know, shit that I can't really tell a story about in a few sentences or less. The math of crypto, the stuff that you play with and invest and treat professionally, I might add, is in math terms bigger than math that occurs in physical reality. Pretty crazy. Samuel, hello. I am DC. Hey, Cap, I am touching grass at the moment, and I just want to say thank you for your consistent streams. Been locked in since 2021. Geist days. Ooh, Geist. Geist is my. I have a Clio, and that's basically turning out to be a Geist, more or less. We'll see. We'll see, because it's not Clio's fault. It's Mantle. And we'll see what comes of Mantle. So, win some, lose some. And the whole point is, as we started the stream, if you take out debt to invest and your cash flow pays your debt, not all investments are going to work. You just need most investments to work, 51%. And most investments that you buy turn out to be good businesses. You will increase your cash flow over time. That's a simple observation. Increase cash flow, able to accumulate more collateral, more working capital, more investment capital, more cash flow. Rinse and repeat. Hope it helps. Hope it helps. Yams in the house. Much a pleasure. DeFi advisor. Hello. DA advisor. Oh my. The two factors here. I am DC. What's your thoughts on rebalancing periodically? Okay, so rebalancing. Investments aren't rebalanced. I am required by business rules to lock in perpetuity. So that's not part of the equation. Rebalancing with regard to Ethereum, Bitcoin, and USDC. Respect the Forex markets. FX, you got to follow the DXY. You got to follow cross currency pairs. We look at that stuff. We look at that. We haven't looked at it much since, but it's there because we're not even into the part of the cycle where we probably should be thinking about collateral or cash rebalancing towards dollar cash. Now's when you want the collateral cash. At some point, it's dollar cash. And dollar cash, technically, you could borrow against in the same way using like an Aave product, um, but you could also spend it. But by the time you're even contemplating that reality, your collateral cash has gone up in value multiples on the money. So you rebalance, respect the FX markets. As this market heads into 2025, we'll be looking at our FX markets yet again. But the cycle hasn't started. That's I've said that for a long time, and but yet folks still haven't seen it yet. It hasn't even started. Where the hell is that little beauty? Move hasn't broken down yet. I repeat, move has not broken down yet. We're coming off the biggest financial shit show between 2020 and today that we've seen since 2008. There will be a period of economic, like that whole roaring 20s. It'll be the roaring whatever the hell is going to play out because it's a different world. But something's going to roar. It's going to roar when this thing breaks down. It's going to get weird. When you get in the 70s on the move indicator, it's going to get really, really weird. So we're not into rebalancing yet. We're in the accumulation phase, accumulate collateral cash, and at some point we rebalance to dollar cash. DA advisor, wait. So this means cash flow will go up. Amen, sir. My man, cash flow. It, it hasn't started yet. It hasn't started yet. The cycle hasn't started yet. Memes. Retail is here. None of that means anything. This, where's my finger on the screen? Like I came and pointed. Nope, there you go. This means everything. And the DXY as well, but that means they're getting Japan under control. But look at this. This thing is an absolute disaster. But the cure for this is what unleashes a flood of liquidity. And if they don't cure this, there goes social civility. There goes the debt construct of the collateral system on the planet. Then everything falls apart. And then it's chaos and anarchy anyway. And you can't do anything in that situation. Remember to be calm, cool, and collected when shit hits the fan. Because at some point, the powers that be try and alleviate shit hitting the fan. And when they do, good times come. Good times. Hope that helps. We follow the currencies. We follow the currencies here. Euro at 93. Would you look at that? Still not at parity. Weakens over time against the dollar. So, I mean, the dollar, they just have to literally weaken it periodically, structurally. And back to the DXY. And what is that structure? Three big episodes of dollar appreciation over the last 50 years, going on 50 years. And then they have to structurally weaken it because otherwise foreign currencies don't exist. The dollar ends with the dollar on this chart going absolutely ballistically vertical and not coming down. That's the end of the dollar. And how that ties into every Bitcoin maximalist wet dream of hyperinflation is another story. It's not so simple. They don't understand what they're talking about. They don't. Dollar is not going anywhere. It's changing. The system is changing, but the dollar's at 105. The dollar's going up. The dollar's in demand. That means people are buying the dollar. Outside the US, people think in terms of how much does a dollar cost? Oh shit, that's expensive. They're literally thinking about like buying a product, buying an investment, buying an asset. I got to go buy dollars. Oh, are they cheap or are they expensive? People in the US have no comprehension of the way it works around the rest of the world. We get paid in dollars. Other people outside the US have to buy the damn dollar. So for the last 16 years, the dollar has gone up, and away. It's been a bull market since 2008 for the dollar. And you have all these talks about other countries don't want the dollar. They've been buying it left and right. Look at this. The chart is up only. So my expectation is over the next decade, you get a structural directionality shift. Why? Because cycles will cycle. What goes up comes down. What goes down comes up. So at some point, they need to devalue the dollar. Otherwise, there's no foreign currencies. The whole system falls apart. Anyway, hope that helps. Need a coffee? Yeah, I definitely need a coffee. That's another story. When will you lock your liquid tap? Well, nobody can lock until Friday. I just gonna lock. I lock my tap. I did make a purchase, an early purchase at about $1.30. Um, look at that, 313. I bought here. I'm pretty sure I started this run right here. I bought about 14 grand here, and how did I pay off my debt? Because this thing's at $3, so I sold half a clip. So I've that was all extra because I have my seed, and obviously it is what it is. Here's the seed. It's vesting until 6/4/2026. So these tap come in, claimed about 5,000. I bought about 10,000, have about 10,000. All of it's going to get locked. This thing has, for me, Pendle written all over it. And I have no business authority to liquidate. I have authority to liquidate to satisfy debt obligations, but I don't have authority to liquidate for capital gains purposes. Um, this is all cash flow. Everything I do is cash flow. It's the only thing that falls within the definition of my business rules, which are important to follow because I get quite favorable reporting treatment and tax treatment because of the business rules. And that's another story. But that's what we talk about in private Discord business structure. CVX PA looking quite promising. Back to 415. Let's go to weekly because anything else will drive you nuts. It's got to get above that 100. So who's selling? So obviously there's chop because people buy at 410 and they sell at 420. So there's always the chop for spot price to grind up. This is going to break at some point. And what else is it going to do? Of course it's going to break at some point. And that is what we all know is coming, or folks that don't have emotions in the equation. Obviously it's going to break. What goes down goes up, and what goes up goes down. It's the way it works. So it looks very promising. Verbs. Yeah, I'm a good Jew. I take my daughter to church. That's awesome. Yeah, I go with my daughter to church. My wife's Catholic. I take my daughter had her confirmation and her first Holy Communion, and she's my little sweet little girl. And I go with her. He's a good guy. Guy gets up there and does his little speechy speech. And it's all morals and ethics and good stories and a good history lesson at times, depending on the priest. Don't be so rigid, folks. It's a big ass world out there. There's a lot of people, and not everyone. I mean, the vast majority fall into the matrix and they're plugged in and they're so rigid, protecting their precious history. What matters is the future. I live in the future. My wife yells at me all the time because she wants to live in the now. I live in the future. I literally tell you guys 4, 8, 12 years in the future. That's all I think about. Wife wants to live in the now. And then Matrix folks literally live in the past. My mother lived in the past. Oh, the good old days. Oh, back way back when it was different back then. Or, some folks just hold on to the past. I can't. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I don't want to digress into sensitive topics. I live in the future, and my wife brings me into the now, and the past means little to nothing to me. It is what it is. My man, you'll be able to borrow against TW Tap in the future. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. I'm very excited for what's coming, and I'm very fortunate and grateful that I've seen good opportunities. And I mean, I can't believe it's at 312, but 25 mil market cap before launch. I've been following this Ben, who I talk with. You know Ben. This shows us what's going on. Very little redemptions. I'm a little. I wish there was more redemptions and less selling. Oh, okay. I was wrong. Wow. 60% because obviously Epoch 2 is done. So whoever didn't redeem is done. Literally 30%. That's crazy. So big redemptions here, but look at the price. Wow. Considering the redemptions, this is quite remarkable. I mean, and this is obviously my allocation. I'm part of the early supporters. And then you have the later supporters. First, I was first round, then there was second round, and that was it. There's no VC in this shit. There's no VCs here. Nothing. it's just so exciting from the way they capitalized, and it's just such an organic grassroots thing. There's probably little to no projects that are like what Madden team built, his idea. Um, I get a sense of his personality, and I think of myself as a developer. And if I spent 2 years building something, all right, that's what he just did. Man, he's got to be like, like on cloud nine, seeing what the hell played out. Look at all this capital raise. All this is a capital raise. All this technically was a capital raise. He built a business. Man, he's got to be proud. And frankly, it's just like, you got to be proud for him. This is crazy. This is from zero, an idea in your head, and he built it. That's wild. So I'm really just like, it's just like an honor to participate in this and to help him to get off the ground and to build what it's going to be from a business. I literally started the stream. The title of the stream is Big Business. That's what this is. This is crazy business. This is a bank. This is a new world bank, but it's a bank. Oh my God. Very exciting. Very exciting. Um, Mike, good morning. The advisor, get real yam levy. Yep, 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 yep. Enlo, appreciate everything. Started moving slowly into RAM yesterday. Metrics were good. Hard to understand why it's in the sexy zone, but I'll take it. Yeah, complicated. It's been very painful. It's still productive, relative to my cost basis. It's been at 75+%. So cash flow is cash flow. Little disappointing. Other people don't see it, and we're starting right curve season, as I call it. Um, what else can be said? N- uh, Not all investments are good investments. I don't even have Clio up here anymore. Every investment that I buy, everything that is locked, I account for in my books at $0 fair market value. And that is a requirement per business rules, but it also allows my business to do what it does, what the intent and economic purpose of it is. So these are all worth zero. So what I measure, what the usefulness of it is to the business construct, is the revenue. So Clio has no revenue, or literally just not even worth really looking at. But Nile is interesting, and the consensus narrative is very interesting. And clearly, the Arbitrum narrative is very interesting. Price action a little bit more disappointing here as compared to Nile, and both of them are less disappointing as compared to Clio because Ramsey's at least is still producing very effective revenue. If you go over to Unchained Data, excuse me, Arbitrum, Ramsey's is a force. It's literally right behind Uniswap, of going back and forth with Camelot. It's a big deal. So that piece of analytical quantitative data is there. It's real. So that's meaningful. Gives me a little bit of comfort that cash flow will pick up in the future. Niles dominant on Linnea. Linnea is big business. 44 mil in volume on a daily basis. That's big stuff. Uh, Mantle. Select. There you go. All right, great. Investment. $0 fair market value. That's paid off. All that remains is cash flow. 18 mil minus 15% week over week. That's not a very good directionality. 3 mil struggling compared to, well, not compared to rest of the stuff on the chain, but clearly compared to Linnea and Arbitrum and Optimism and Base. Microscopic volume. Microscopic volume. Looks like Airdrome's going to flip Uni on Base because Velodrome flipped Uniswap on Optimism. That's absolutely insane. That doesn't happen. It's never happened. This is the first time Uniswap has been swapped on any chain. That counts. Definitely counts. DA advisor, I'll have my coffee. My wife's doing some work upstairs. Arrow CBX PA is of late made up my Kingdom V33 token PA depreciation. Yeah, the whole point of a portfolio is it balances out. A portfolio is a construct. It's somewhat like what an artist produces, and you should take it uh, uh, with pride like that. It's what you built. This is an expression of your financial understanding. So that's meaningful. Everything should balance. Everything should be in harmony. If one thing does poor, other things do better. Up and down, left and right. Raul, CVX is a beauty. Curious to get your thoughts now that we've seen similar PA with a few VE33s, even though TVL is still on the rise. Well, look at the conversation we just had on Telegram about what 20% inflation rate for Curve dropping to six and change. Same tokenomics, disinflationary tokenomics for all the VE33s. Check back in 4 years. Does it mean, what does that mean? Maybe there's a greater discount and we bought at a premium. That's what that probably means. So in hindsight, probably the only exposure that made sense was Velodrome because it gave you exposure to many chains, and Ramses because I haven't gotten an airdrop yet, but in theory, I think Nile was airdrop. Nuri will be airdropped. In theory, I look forward to seeing that kind of growing exposure play out by having a single exposure to the core of the kingdom, Ramses. And if that is the case, then that's comparable to what Velodrome is offering by expanding to other chains. So, uh, in that regard, I wish I had Velodrome a little bit earlier, even though it would have been depreciative, cash flow would have done well, and we would have had base exposure built in. So, in hindsight, missed earlier Velodrome and missed earlier Ramses. And then we would have been able to save all the money we spent on Mantle and Linnea, and we would have been more efficient and a more responsible fiduciary. So, in many regards, the most responsible fiduciary sees opportunities, um, and when only when there is the maximum opportunity deploys capital. And that's also something I say about discounts and a premium. If things are at a premium, it's your responsibility to not buy it. We kind of did that. We got it. We learning, and we did. And now our cash flow pays off our debts and rinse and repeat. Hope that helps. I got Curve over CVX. Well, Curve's also cranking out twice the APR of CVX. Fun fact. Curve's cranking out 34.68% as an APR. And then if you go over to Convex, Convex is cranking out 14 and change. Fun fact. Ooh, what does that mean? Everyone, it'll be an age-old question, which plays out better in the future. Convex curve. I think vote rentals will cycle between convex, curve, cleaver. It's voting rights, and my sentiment has always been, all right, great. There's derivatives of voting rights, but voting rights are voting rights, and they will be powerful. So don't spend too much time thinking about it. And to me, that was best expressed with the base layer. I think it will do just well. Um, what's wrong with curve lagging a bit? I'm still a buyer at these levels. Nothing. General public is irrational. General public doesn't understand finance. General public doesn't understand the dollar. General public doesn't understand capital management. General public doesn't understand investing. General public doesn't know how to spend less than they make. General public is heading down the road of defaulting on their home, defaulting on their credit cards. We don't talk about macroeconomics like that, but those are tidbits. On average, people are screwed financially. People spend more than they make. They're in debt. The average credit card bill is what, 6, 7, 8 grand? And you can literally do Fred data. An average credit card. There we can look at the total. Whoa, that's total credit card debt outstanding. Other revolving plans and commercial banks, probably HELOCs in there as well, whatever. But oh my goodness, $1,057 billion. You think people's cash flows are going up? They operate like we described here. You can only spend based on the cash flow you have, and you need to spend less than your cash flow. You need to. I moved from New York to Florida to spend less than my cash flow. If I needed to move from Florida to rural fucking Idaho or Alabama, I would do it to spend less than my cash flow. Charlie Munger, he said the hardest thing in the world is to get your first $100,000. And if you want to win at this game, you do what you have to do. So the same applies. And I say this with a parental strength and vigor. Do what you have to do. If you need to go and you need to do this and you need to make moves and you need to pivot, you spend less than you make. If you need to figure out how to be a survivalist and build a goddamn hut in the forest and chop a tree limb off and do what the Tom Hanks did and built a rope and you build a bow and arrow to hunt some rabbits you do what you have to do. You got one shot at this shit. You either do it or you don't. Woo! Sorry, I get myself worked up. Do what you have to do. I think of my kids and stuff like that. You do what you have to do. That is what. Anyway, that was a big digression. Bows and arrows and Tom Hanks references. Oh, look what I have created. I don't know. I love that meme. Oof. That's why I'm building these positions cap, even if they're considered small. It's all size. It's all relative. It's all relative. Let it grow over the years. The failure that people experience with capital management is trying to achieve future results now. Their expectations are too high. Trying to turn $1,000 into $100 million with some stupid dumbass meme coin. I like meme coins. I like NFTs. So don't get me wrong. It's the expectations that are the problem. That's what destroy people. Wrong, erroneous, and irrational expectations. Yeah. Cap as a Jew, thoughts about coming to Israel? No interest. I have no interest in conflict. I have no interest in that complexity whatsoever. I have no interest in complexity. The only thing I will fight to defend is my family, is my daughters. Bye bye. No interest whatsoever. But I have family there. I have my cousins live there, and I've had family over the years, and she's very emotional, and she's one of the protesters and wants Biddy out of office, and he's insane. So I have plenty of political opinion that I don't talk about. I think it's all insane. I think everyone's insane. Here, this is this the founding fathers of the United States had it right. Oh, yeah, here. Mind your business. Mind your business. Take care of your friends and family. Do well. Live well. Enjoy life. My cousin tells me there's a very good nightlife in Israel. People enjoy life. Enjoy life. But that means we have to, you know, be calm, cool, and collected and rational. So the second I see irrationality, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't got time for that. I got work. I got my content. I got the things that make me happy. I love understanding financials and the way the global financial system works. I love talking to you guys and gals. I love my daughters. That's it. I don't have any patience for this insanity. It's insane. And I don't, I see violence and I go the other way. Out, gone, leave me alone. Sorry, the big digression, everyone. But that's just what it is. I want nothing to do with it. Cap is the best value investor. I might be the only value investor in crypto. Um, I am the boring crypto investor. I am the person that comes to the crypto space to do what no one does. 'Cause everyone comes here to try and make a fortune. And the last thing I want to do is try and make a fortune. And that's what guarantees my survival. I want to own the things that will exist in 2028 and 2032 and 2036. And they're immutable. So they will exist. So the question is, which are the businesses that will remain relevant? Oh shit, biggest business on the planet, the dollar. Thank you very much. Appreciate the observation, DA advisor. Cap is from Levy tribe, like Yam Levy. That's my guy. That's cool. That's cool. Listen, I had my shaders when I was a kid. I had a much more cohesive family when I was younger. Family's cool. Back in the day, that's all good. History's cool. I think about the future. Not too much interested in the history. I will certainly not interested in protecting history. I'm more interested in the future. The future is what matters to myself. Hope that helps. Hey, Cap, do you plan to keep your STKAV or do you only want to hold it while you have an active debt position? You know, it's actually a good observation. Um, I've thought about increasing it as capital permits because that facilitates favorable debt conditions. Um, there's nothing solidified about this thought, but it would make sense. So there you go. That's probably the way I'm thinking about it. Hope that helps. For me, Napier has Pendleton all over potentially as well, built on curve. Listen, do you think, do folks think there's not going to be a next very big protocol in the biggest business on the planet, finance and dollars, ooh, and incentives, which is a multi-trillion-dollar business, as we discussed? My man, 4, 8, 12 years. DA advisor got a humble tap position yesterday thanks to the AO tap. Oh my goodness, there's discounts on the options. I exercised some options from the Pearl Club NFT this morning. It's like $750 and it's worth like 2400 dollars. Very exciting mechanic. And the second I executed those options in such a lovely user interface, I was like, oh, had Pendle vibes. This is lovely. This is just a great. Yeah, I already exercised it. That's cool. This is cool stuff. Very cool tech. Fortunate. I agree. That that's what we need more of in life and humanity is just appreciation, compassion, grateful. Frankly, it's like my historic culture. uh, I'm not really astute on it. Nor am I astute on my wife and my children, their Catholic culture. But it's all the same: morals, ethics, responsibility, honor, and who's the most important persons to exercise those things with? Your family and yourself. And you are good to no one unless you're first and foremost good to yourself. You cannot take care of your family unless you're good to yourself. So, order of operations, take care of yourself so you could take care of your family. And, obviously it gets complicated with like a big extended family. My wife has a big extended family. I take care of family. It gets complicated. Yeah. Anywho. DA advisor. Uh, 0x, which also extends the question, would you keep a 4% loan indefinitely? No, I don't want to keep loans. I want to pay off loans. Um, Very transitory. Uh, yeah, I'm pretty rigid on that topic. Debt taken should be paid off for me in 2 to 4 weeks, which means debt is sized based on my cash flow. I can only take X amount of debt. And obviously, it's a catch 22 because if you don't have cash flow, you need to spend your collateral or your cash to buy the cash flow. And that's what I did. A lot of my portfolio has been bought between 2022 and 2024. And I spent a fair amount of Ethereum and Bitcoin to do that. And everything I have there on Aave is what's remaining. And so I have the collateral, cash flow, debt as working capital, cycle, rinse and repeat. uh, Reductionist mentality of capital management. Hope that helps. Can be a cash flow machine, this tapioca. I'm very much looking forward to it. I can't wait till Friday. Between that and layer zero, that's crazy stuff coming on. Because of the magnitude of what they are going for in-house. Full stack. Full technological stack for capital management. Big stuff. Very interesting. Do you think Pendle run is done? Unknown, irrelevant. It's not at a discount. I can't acquire it, so it literally is irrelevant to me. Interesting tech, very exciting. Hi, Cap. What are your thoughts on Napier as a cash flow position? Unknown. Uh, Derivative. And what I tell you guys, my thoughts on derivatives. I don't need them. I like base layer stuff. Keep it simple. Hope that helps. Crypto Jake, good morning. If TradFi understood they could buy an asset and cash flow 75% of their investment paid weekly, it goes parabolic, which is pretty much where we are heading. And then the 75% turns to 20% and the asset price goes up. And then the business volume expands as cash starts to really cycle through these markets, and the 20% goes to 50%, and then it gets diluted again. 20% back, 50% back down to 20%, and the price of the asset goes up. Rinse and repeat. Asset price goes up, cash flow. You can get 10x on your asset, on your position, and you're still making 20%. That's the mechanic there. As long as business volume remains proportional to asset price appreciation, which which is inversely proportional. So you want it to balance out. That's where it's all heading. Your portfolio goes 10x on the money. You're making 20% of the money on average, let's say, and your portfolio goes 20x on the money, and you're still making 20%. That doesn't happen in traditional finance because of the entire governance process of the board of directors. The white pasty men who say, oh, we're going to give you an extra 1% dividend. No, no, no. In crypto, you get the dividends. Good morning, Cap. Crypto Jake's in the house. I nailed that one. Happy Wednesday, Brian. Much pleasure. Bill Clinton. Cap, I know your mantra of XYZ, but what do you think about a small 2 or 3% position in Aave? You would use it as a collateral, you would use it as a cash, capital gains play. Aave is big business. Multi-billion dollar company. Was it 6 bill? All right. What's the odds of it going 10x on the money? Is it worth it? I mean, the odds are to probably go 10x on the money, but I don't know. It's not for me. I don't like capital gains. Um, I need collateral, I need cash, and I need investments. And I tell you guys this story because that's what keeps me sane. Gaming Larry, sup Noah, you have taken any profit after that tap run? Well, I paid off my debt, and here's the Ave, no debt. So, clean slate. Income for the week comes in. I'll add collateral, I'll pay some bills, and that's it. And now I'm back to square one. So, technically, yes, that was an absolute insane run up to 311. I sold down here. I think I sold it was a small clip, very small clip. It was what I took out in debt. I cleared my debt, and I bought it at a buck 30, so that was very nice. I have a free tap position, but most of my tap comes from my early investment as a first round investor. Absolutely insane. I This goes Pendle. God bless. God bless. Um, for potential fee swish, yes, speculative at this point. Okay, okay, good consideration of a fee switch. 6 bill. All right, listen, I don't have the capital. The fee switch, that means I got to save up. Now plays into the equation of position size. Can you take a decent position size? Is it at a discount? Always at a decent price because I've been thinking of this. Structurally, ironically, you want to know what this reminds me of? And people be like, "What?" But Ave, look at the structure. Look at the structure on the weekly, pushing above MAs, breaking, support region, which is a position of weakness. You know what it looks like? Boo-boo. Looks like MIM. Obviously, MIM got hit harder because that shit went parabolic. But the bottom has the same pattern. It's all the same patterns. Here, let's see if we could keep this zoom position. Ave, let's do it. Let's do it like this. Okay. Zoom. Oh, it's resetting the damn zoom on me. All right. Very similar. And look, it's the same thing with convex. Look at the MAs. Look at this pattern. Break up, break down, support. Then you go over to convex, and it hasn't broken up yet. So break down, break up, support, break out. Lagging. This is right curve season. Ave is a little bit mainstream. Big mega macro cap asset. Hope that helps. DA advisor, happy you appreciate my story. I know a lot of things I talk about are I don't know. I hope I tell a good story. I hope what I say is reasonable. DA advisor, you're a big influence on Yam and myself. Let me tell you, Cap, I'm happy to hear that. I try my best to help people, and it's everyone. Everyone just deserves to hear a story, and everyone deserves the opportunity to hear a story that can help them. And as much as people may hate it, uh, a good part of living well is financials, uh, and so it's important. And so I take great passion and great pride in what I do, and it gives me purpose. In the end, that's everyone's. What's the point of life if you don't have a purpose? And I've defined or accepted or understood reality to be what is purpose. It's a choice. Choose your purpose. You get to define what gives life meaning. And this is my meaning. I like to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a choice. Just pick it. And I get great enjoyment out of whatever I do, do it well. This is all a big video game, ladies and gentlemen. Life is a big video game, and you get points. And, it just so happens that the points are dollars. It's a big game. It's a big video game. So get your bonuses and get your badges and get your points. And that's it. At the end, you get on the leaderboard. See if you get the high score. Yeah, that's cool. There is no point to ever expect everyone to agree. But the whole point is that everyone, if they were rational, uh, can uh, can communicate. So rationality is what brings everyone together. Appreciate the correction. The only value investor, my man. Pragmatist, my man. Is perception a good reflection on my life in general? I get philosophical. My wife doesn't necessarily appreciate that when I get too philosophical. It's all about ourselves. That's right, my friend. Picking up more curve at these levels. I got to wrap it up in 2 minutes. I know you have a large position, but it seems at a discount. Certainly at a discount, I don't have a need to overexpose. Yeah, and respect other thoughts on Israel. I feel the same way. I hope it's reasonable what I say. I know it's sensitive and complicated, um, and I always try and be respectful of complexity. Lake Meadows, my man. Arrow did that. Yeah, it did, didn't it? Crazy. Don't forget the vote today. That's right. Big voting day. Wednesday. Every Wednesday. Tell a great story. Thank you, my friend. Makes people think. Obviously, I actually care. Of course, I care. What's the point of life if you don't care? But bear in mind, there's an interesting one. Big difference between sympathy and empathy. So I've always been a semantic person, a person considerate of semantics. Empathy is when you feel what other people are feeling. Sympathy is when you feel bad for someone. But empathy is quite meaningful, is where you appreciate what other people are experiencing. So I am much more empathetical rather than expressing of sympathy. Hope that helps. Yeah, yeah. I think macro is a big deal, and I think people deserve as much storytelling as possible. Igor, Captain Rational Purpose, yeah, today was a stream filled with wisdom and philosophy and a little bit of psychology and certainly a lot of bit of rationality, as always. Gal, shalom, much a pleasure, y'all. Gal's in the house. Yeah, it's a Wednesday, baby. What's the point of not caring? Yeah, it's horrible expression of humanity is lack of empathy and even sympathy for that matter. And everyone would be much better off if everyone cared and understood what everyone was experiencing. Wish you all a good one. Thank you all for joining me today on a Wednesday, June 19th at 2 p.m. 327 people made it to the end of the stream. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's only a Wednesday. We're going to be back on Friday. So tell everyone to subscribe. And until then, I will see you then. Peace.